Muslim or Christian might dream of the luxuries to be enjoyed in paradise. But what am I to expect? I know that the moment the rope is fitted round my neck and the rafters removed from under my feet, that will be the final moment. A short life of struggle with no magnificent end shall be the reward, if I have the courage to take it in that light.
लोग जो गांव में रहते हैं उसमें मेजॉरिटी जो है किसानी है, और किसानी जो पंजाब की है टोटल सिख है, और वही अकालियों का बेस है, वही टेररिस्टों का बेस है। और अगर हम उनको खुला छोड़ देते और हो सकता हो सभी के सभी लोग ही इनके पीछे चले जाते। हमारी जत्थेबंदी ने उनके जो सही डिमांड्स हैं किसानी की, उनको इसीलिए भी लिया और उसकी तैयारी के लिए हर गांव में मीटिंग्स करवाई, छोटी रैलीज करवाई, और उसके लिए हम कल्चरल प्रोग्राम जैसे रात को नाटक करवाते हैं। गुरसन सिंह जी के जो नाटक है आम हमारी के गांव में करवाते हैं।
मैं बेनती करता कि भी जरूर आ रहा पर आप प्रोग्राम जरूर देखना। सुनो सुनो सुनो, शहर दे विच दो फिरके रहिंदे ने। हिंदू अपने कोल त्रिशूल रखदा है, सिख अपने कोल किरपान रखदा है। हिंदू CRP नूं चंगा समझदा है ते सिख पंजाब पुलिस नूं चंगा समझदा है। ਇਹ ਲਕੀਰ ਮੁਗਲ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ नहीं पा सके, ਇਹ ਲਕੀਰ अंग्रेज नहीं पा सके। ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿਰਫ 38 ਸਾਲ ਰਾਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਲਕੀਰ ਪਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਏ। ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਹਕੂਮਤ ਕਰਨਾ। ਸੁਣੋ ਸੁਣੋ ਸੁਣੋ, ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਫਿਊ ਲਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਕਰਫਿਊ ਵਾਲੀ ਰਾਤ ਲੰਮੀ ਕੋਈ ਤੇ ਮੁਹੱਬਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਾਤ ਪਾਓ। ਰਾਤ ਅਜੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਹੈ, ਰਾਤ ਅਜੇ ਬਾਕੀ। ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਤਾਜ਼ਾ ਖਬਰ, ਹਿੰਦੂ ਜਗਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਅਜੀਤ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਤੇ ਅਖਬਾਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੜਨ। ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਕੂਗੇ ਨੇਤਾ ਦਾ ਬਿਆਨ ਜੇ ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਸਿੱਖ ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਵੀ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਇਹ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੇ। ਇਹ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਹਿੱਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਹਿੱਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਏ। ਪਰ ਮੇਰੀ ਅਖਬਾਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਹਿੱਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਲਈ ਵਾਤਾਵਰਨ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਿੰਦੂਆਂ ਲਈ ਵਾਤਾਵਰਨ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਭਾਰਤ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੀ ਫਿਰਕੂ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵੀ ਫਿਰਕੂ ਹੈ। ਰਾਮ ਲਾਲ ਵੀ ਫਿਰਕੂ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਰਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਵੀ ਫਿਰਕੂ ਹੈ। ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੇ ਕਰਫਿਊ ਹੈ। ਕਰਫਿਊ ਕਦੋਂ ਹਟੇਗਾ? ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕਰਫਿਊ ਹਟੇਗਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕਰਫਿਊ? ਹਾਂ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੋਚ ਬਦਲੇਗੀ, ਸਾਡੀ ਸੋਚ ਬਦਲੇਗੀ। ਹਾਂ
ਬਾਊ ਰਾਮ ਲਾਲ ਜੀ।
ਹਾਂ ਰਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ।
ਅਖਬਾਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਕੁਝ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਸੱਚੀਆਂ ਕਹਿ ਗਿਆ।
ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ, ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸੱਚੀਆਂ ਕਹਿ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ। ਇਹ ਰਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਾਊ ਜੀ।
ਤੇਰਾ ਕੁੱਕੂ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਰੋਂਦਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ?
ਕੀ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਬਾਊ ਜੀ, ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁੱਧ ਦੀ ਬੂੰਦ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ। ਬੱਚਾ ਜੋ ਹੋਇਆ ਭੁੱਖ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਲਕਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਸੀ।
ਮੈਂ ਪੱਪੂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਦੁੱਧ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਸਾਂ, ਤੂੰ ਸਾਥੋਂ ਮੰਗ ਲੈਣਾ ਸੀ। ਪੱਪੂ ਦੇ ਕੁੱਕੂ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ?
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਾਊ ਜੀ।
ਜੇ ਪੱਪੂ 'ਚ ਤੇ ਕੁੱਕੂ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਫਰਕ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਦੋਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਕਿਉਂ ਫਰਕ ਆ?
ਇਹੋ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਬਾਊ ਜੀ।
ਸੋਚ ਬਦਲੇਗੀ, ਇਹ ਕਰਫਿਊ ਹਟੇਗਾ, ਹਨੇਰਾ ਮੁੱਕੇਗਾ, ਇਹ ਕਰਫਿਊ ਹਟੇਗਾ।
Central Jail, Lahore, 3rd March 1931. Dear Kultar, today seeing the tears in your eyes, I was full of grief. Little brother, study hard and look after your health. Keep your courage. What more can I say? This body This dust may disappear, but my thoughts shall remain, the lightning in the sky. Farewell, comrade. I go on a journey. Be brave. Your brother, Bhagat Singh.
शहीद भगत सिंह ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਧਾਂਜਲੀ ਭੇਟ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੋਕ ਸਕਦਾ। ਇਹ ਕਾਂਗਰਸ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਆ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਲਿਆਂਦਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਕਾਂਗਰਸੀ ਵੀ ਅੱਤਵਾਦ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਜੇ ਅਕਾਲੀ ਵੀ ਅੱਤਵਾਦ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕੌਣ ਲੋਕ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਤਵਾਦ ਪੈਦਾ ਕੀਤਾ? ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਤਲ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਡੋਲੇ ਇਹ ਸਰਕਾਰ। ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਤਲ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਡੋਲੇ ਇਹ ਸਰਕਾਰ। ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਾਬਾਦ, ਮੁਰਦਾਬਾਦ।
ये जो स्टेट टेररिज्म है, इसके खिलाफ हमने ऐसे रिपोर्ट शाया की। और दूसरा जो टेररिस्ट कार्रवाई करते हैं, जैसे खुदा बस स्टैंड, वहाँ 24 बस मुसाफिरों को निकाल कर मार दिया गया, उसके खिलाफ भी हमने यही किया, प्रोपेगेंडा भी किया। मतलब जिस तरीके से भी हम कर सकते हैं, यही नहीं, हमको भी धमकियाँ आती हैं, डराते हैं टेररिस्टों की तरफ से। और हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो गांव में है, कमेटी है, खुद ही ये काम करती है कि अगर कोई गांव में अटैक करने आता है, इसीलिए हिंदुओं के ऊपर आता है, जहाँ किसी आदमी के ऊपर अटैक करने को आता है, तो उसका मुकाबला किया जाए।
On March 17th, 1988, Comrade Jaimal Singh Padda was gunned down by Khalistani terrorists. A year before, he had sung us this song.
को श्रद्धांजलि भेंट करते हैं कि जिन्होंने लोगों की खातिर इतनी कुर्बानियाँ की, हम उन रास्ते पर चलते हुए कभी भी रुकेंगे नहीं, चाहे हमको भी जितनी कुर्बानियाँ करनी पड़े। ये गाना पेश करता हूँ। ओ यारो सानू नहीं हो भुलनी, ओना मित्रां दी याद प्यारी, हक सच लई होए हाणियों, जिन्ना हस हस जिंदगी वारी, यारो सानू नहीं हो भुलनी। ओ फर्जां दे वणजारे सिद्क निभागे ने, जो लोक लहर दी राह नू रुशनागे ने, हस हस वारी जिंद लोकां दे आशिकां ने, पर बाजी न सिदक दी हारी, हक सच लई होए हाणियों, जिन्ना हस हस जिंदगी वारी, यारो सानू नहीं हो भुलनी। ओना मित्रां दी याद प्यारी, ओना मित्रां दी याद प्यारी, हक सच लई होए हाणियों, जिन्ना हस हस जिंदगी वारी, यारो सानू नहीं हो भुलनी।
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਮਰ ਸੁਨੇਹਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਭੁਲਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੇ ਚੱਪੇ ਚੱਪੇ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੇ ਚੱਪੇ ਚੱਪੇ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਉਹ ਸੌ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਅਮਰ ਸ਼ਹਾਦਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਿਰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਨਿਭਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਯਾਰੀ ਸਿਰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਨਿਭਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਯਾਰੀ ਹੱਕ ਸੱਚ ਲਈ ਵਹਾਣਿਓ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਹੱਸ ਹੱਸ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਯਾਰੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਭੁੱਲਣੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਮਿੱਤਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਹੱਕ ਸੱਚ ਲਈ ਵਹਾਣਿਓ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਹੱਸ ਹੱਸ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਯਾਰੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਭੁੱਲਣੀ
Thank you, Anand. I've seen this film for the third time, I think, or fourth. And every time he shows me this, I go back to Punjab. You know, I live in Bangalore. And I go back to those days which I saw. I was an adolescent in the period this film was made. I was studying in Punjab. But while we talk about it, I would want us to remember that this was 40 years back, roughly. And in 40 years, this country has taken many leaps and many kinds of appropriations of Bhagat Singh, many, many kinds of breaking down of that idea of a secular India has taken place. Now, Sardara Singh says early on in the film, Punjab is in a crisis. Punjab is still in a crisis 40 years later. But today, India is in a crisis. I think that's the way we should look at this film. Would you like to open with?
Yeah, it's a long time since I saw it also, because as you said, it's made 40 years ago and it's not shown very often. I mean, many of my films are shown quite often, but this one, for some reason, I guess maybe because the Khalistan movement is sort of more or less disappeared from India. It's now more in Canada and America than here. But you see sometimes glimpses of it. So the film is not used a lot nowadays.
Khalistan movement, I don't know, even if in the peak of it, it was a movement. I mean, I argue at least it was a non-movement. Yeah. You know, you're seeing various people, they're unable to define what is Khalistan, correct, right? So they didn't have a vision, a coherent vision. No? So, but the specter of Khalistan has now been revisiting India for the last 5 to 7 years. And I'm proposing this here very responsibly. You've been hearing news, right? All this Hardeep Singh Nijjar killing, Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, targeted, Canada-India relations, America-India relations, Britain-India relations. And just 2 years before this was the farmers' protest. Remember how the specter of Khalistan came up? But something we miss here, and Bhagat Singh is directly involved. is one political party went around the diaspora campaigning for funds to fight elections. I think when they came up, we all supported it. It was a middle class political party, we'll change the system. And they have adopted Bhagat Singh as their mascot today. And what they're doing in Punjab right now or in Delhi, we all know it, So I'm just saying that these icons that we have and which are very dear to us, the way the political parties or political groups adopt them and then repurpose them for their own, which is what Jagmohan sir is saying in the film.
Yeah, and during the farmers' movement itself, the government tried to infuse Khalistan into the picture. This Deep Sidhu, who hijacked, and the farmers were coming to protest and they went to Red Fort and hoisted Khalistan flag. That was Deep Sidhu, who turns out to be a good friend of the BJP. So there's double games being played in the name of religion, as always.
No, that's true. And the ones who are against Deep or who critically see it like that, the ones who are pro-Deep, they think that why wasn't the farmers' protest really a radical Sikh protest? So that's their argument on that side, But these two parts of Punjab, the left and the radical Sikh, in fact, to me, it is not radical Sikh because Sikhi is radical. The original shots of Harmandir Sahib that Anand's movie is showing, the way this religion is configured, it's actually a radical religion.
It's actually like an Ekta committee, meaning like what we used to do after riots in Mumbai, take out peace marches and talk about unity.
Right.
If you look at Guru Nanak and you look at even in the Golden Temple, as he was saying, everybody's represented. There's Kabir, so there's influences from Hinduism, Sikh, Islam. Everything is represented in this, but taking the best from all of that.
Yeah, but again, going back to the point I was earlier making, that political party which went around the diaspora collecting funds was collecting in what name?
You can name it as Aam Aadmi.
Yeah, the Aam Aadmi Party. They fanned, the diaspora, the NRI Sikhs, for 20 years they were like, okay, now Khalistan is over. We have a migrant life. It's a difficult life for a migrant. These guys went and sowed these seeds there. Oh, we will create another Punjab which you can, fund and then you can do whatever you want with it. So AAP is missing out in all the narratives that come about Khalistan revival. AAP is like very kindly like, oh, AAP is not involved. Of course it is involved. This was 2015-17 when I was writing my book. I was traveling. I was hearing this happening. I met AAP people. I met NRIs and they were all like, yeah, that's our agenda. And then in 2020, when the farmers' protest comes up, the BJP picks up Khalistan. Forgetting that for 50 years, it is this state, tiny little 2% of the country, which has fed the whole country.
And also, we shouldn't isolate up. This opportunism was there. Like in 1983-84, who was egging on Indira Gandhi to attack the Golden Temple, to do Blue Star operation? It was L.K. Advani. It was in Parliament. It's on record if you want to go and check. That they were saying, why aren't you intervening when the Sikh militants are holed up in the Golden Temple and you're doing nothing about it?
Yeah. Indra is Durga. That was what...
Yeah. And then in 1984, after Indira Gandhi's assassination, we all know that the Congress people led these attacks on the Sikh community. But what is less known and remembered is that the BJP and the RSS was also part of those gangs that were attacking the Sikhs. So, and again, that you can do your research and see. There are newspaper headlines and articles talking about how the Hindu right was also involved in these killings.
And look at it now. Baba Ramdev sells Chaman Prash in Bhagat Singh's name. In Punjab, on Bhagat Singh's anniversary, BJP brings out front-page ads on Bhagat Singh's name. You saw the debate happening between the Sikh Federation and Anand, he's saying like, which part of Bhagat Singh, So they say, oh, he fought for it and we are fighting. So that much only we are taking from him. What he fought for, what was his idea? No, not that, just this much. So now BJP is taking the nationalism of Bhagat Singh. He was fighting for the nation. Everybody is breaking up Bhagat Singh and taking one part of it. That is the issue. And that issue remains today. I mean, I very clearly will say that if Congress was, there is a benign Hindu religion, which is like everybody is inclusive, everybody is welcome. You want to do something, make your own God and do it. And then there is a soft Hindutva, which the Congress practiced, and they took on target this minuscule population of Sikhs, which is what Indira Gandhi did. And now there is a hard Hindutva, in which you take on 14 plus whatever number of Christians.
Indira Gandhi actually did it slightly differently, in the sense that, which you see a little bit in the film, Indira Gandhi actually supported Bhindranwale. Yeah. Indira Gandhi's government, not Indira Gandhi personally herself, and because Gyani Zail Singh is in that photograph with Bhindranwale, who is Indira Gandhi's very close bhakt, in a sense. And that was to destabilize the then government in Punjab, which was the Akali government, which was had an alliance with the Janata Dal. So this was, politics being played out at the cost of the people.
Yeah. But let me just finish my thought here, like that now it is hard Hindutva, which we all feel, oh my God. And now on 22nd January, actually that hard Hindutva, that line which when it was crossed, we were all very, his other film Ram Ke Naam is about that. But now that erasure has been put away completely. There's a new structure there. And on Bhindranwale, again, there is a senior intelligence officer retired. His book completely says, yeah, he was a plant by Sanjay Gandhi, actually was engineering the activities. KBS Sidhu's book, and he was in the intelligence, he says, from inside. And Darbara Singh was, again, it is like within Congress. So Darbara Singh was the chief minister of Punjab. And Zail Singh was gone into the center. He is a home minister. But he can't let go of Punjab. He has to control it here. So there is that line of thinking. But if you look at the Sikh thought, they say no. Sant Bhindranwale cannot be planted by anybody. Which is also like point of view. So it is just narratives.
I want to bring in a further dimension of this same story, is that look at the global forces at the time. In the global forces at the time, 1971 was the Bangladesh, when Bangladesh was born, but before that there was a war that Indira Gandhi fought, and at that time the USA was supporting Pakistan, did not want the creation of Bangladesh. They had sent the 7th Fleet to fight, to put pressure on the Indian forces not to support the East Pakistan at the time, the Mujibur Rahman and their forces. And so this is another kind of politics that is happening, and we can't be unaware of it, that there are always global forces. So we're talking about a time when the Cold War was still active, the Cold War between Soviet Union and USA, the two superpowers of the time. And India was in the middle. India, from Nehru onwards till Indira Gandhi, certainly, India was somewhat leaning towards the Soviet Union. And America didn't want that. America tried to destabilize the government of India that was playing, slightly pro-Soviet. And you saw many things come out of that. So you saw perhaps secret support for Khalistanis in Punjab. You saw secret support for the Hindutva movement, but it was also another tendency that was pulling the country apart, because their American aim is to defeat all kinds of socialism, or people who talk about socialism. Not that they're actually socialists, but if they try to talk in that language, they saw them as the enemy. And so we have global forces destabilizing. You had at the same time America arming Islamic fundamentalism in Pakistan as well as in Afghanistan, trying to overthrow the government of Afghanistan that was pro-Soviet. And to overthrow them, they actually trained Muslim militancy in Pakistan and then sent them to Afghanistan. Who is Bin Laden? Bin Laden was a playboy of the Western world who from Saudi Arabia. And he was, I mean, you can see, if you go back and look at the net, I don't know if these pictures are still there, but you can see Bin Laden in bell bottoms with a whole group of family and friends, in the Alps. Because these were rich guys. In fact, Bin Laden's father was a partner with George Bush Sr., and they owned an oil field in Texas together. So, no, these guys have planted them. The world is being taken for a ride. The so-called militants and all that have been created because to keep the powers that are in power safe from any other tendencies.
But talk about, let's come back to the film.
Yeah, okay.
Let's talk about the night shoots. Because that would be very difficult, right?
Night shoots?
The shooting in the night.
Well, if you notice in the film here and there, you see that even on our side, when I say I was with the Jatha that was going village to village, there were guns. Because there was fear of attacks from the Khalistanis. And so even in the night, you can see people are there with guns as bodyguards, kept on a higher level, guarding everybody while the show went on.
Yeah, but did it happen by the time you were shooting this that, like, I just went to Manipur and came back, and in Manipur it is very clear, those who are in the valley can't go to the hills, those who are in the hills can't come to the valley. That line is like that. In Punjab, that line was 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Uh-huh. That 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. police will be on the roads. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. the militants would be on the roads.
In some, and different areas were controlled by different people. Yeah. So
the greatness of Gursharan Paji, I was coming to that, is that he was the one who dared to go.
Gursharan being the older man who was a theatre activist and
whose theatre troupe it is. And if you read Gursharan Paji's own story, it's fascinating. He was one of those few who dared to go into rural Punjab, 40 kilometers away from any town, and perform in the nights, which was actually such a strengthening emotion for the people, because people also start feeling, right, that curfew, that whole curfew is not only police curfew, it is also militancy curfew. Growing up, we couldn't dare to go to lock the gate of our house after 8 p.m. in the night. That is how Punjab was. Buses would stop at 4. Whoever has to go wherever, take the last buses at 4 o'clock, because it has to reach wherever it has to reach by 7 o'clock. After that, no movement.
But contrast what the state ended up doing to defeat the Khalistani movement. They actually massacred people. They actually made them disappear. So whether it was KPS Gill or Ribeiro or whoever was in charge in Punjab, they just slaughtered that. There was no prisoners. So here you see the left movement going village to village, fairly, arms of very little, just a few people had guns, but actually appealing to the hearts and minds of people, not trying to defeat the Khalistanis with guns, but with ideas.
Yeah, but and that is where the sensitivity to me of the film lies. That here is a person who is calling out both sides. He's calling out the center and the state, whatever, as well as calling out the communalism that has started in the state. So that third line is, I think, the most important line to understand from the film. that you can't just blindly think that either the state or the Hindus or the Sikhs or any one of them is correct always. No. You've already discussed how it was seeded. The whole thing was created. And then and it was also created by state policies. So the hak sach di ladai that they say, that is the most important one.
And you see how young these people are. They were like kids. They were like 16, 17, 18-year-olds, whether they were the militants or whether they were in the left. And although the film talks about one person, Jaimal Singh Padda, who was martyred, actually when you go back and look at the film again, those who are from the region know that many of the people who appeared in the film died soon after, whether they were from the left movement or whether they were from the Khalistani side. Many of them are not here anymore.
And then a word on the extrajudicial killings. Like before the film, we just saw a little bit of the Sheher film, and there's a bulldozer, and today we know what the bulldozer means. And the extrajudicial killings, the numbers by two groups are in the range of 8,000, 20,000. One of the leading human rights lawyer who himself was disappeared and killed, he had given a number of 25,000. But this tendency of the state, and you have seen last few years of Yogi's rule in UP, how gangsters are eliminated. That gangster elimination is right now going on in Punjab. I was so surprised 3 days back to see what KPS Gill had made, this armored tractor which can go into that, slushy areas of where the rivers meet. Now they're inventing those to kill who? Gangsters. So state policies don't change. And we get caught in between all this politics and which side are we standing on? That's I think the biggest thing that modernity has done to our heads. We don't see things as together. We see them as. But
and you can actually, I'm there. We'll throw it open to audience
in a minute.
Yeah, but another thing to think about is that you could look at the Khalistan movement in a sense. You don't want to call it movement, but the concept and the militancy as also an offshoot of the Green Revolution, because the Green Revolution changed Punjab by big dams and irrigation and chemical, all the chemicals that came in, whether fertilizer or pesticides. And for a while in the beginning, it was highly successful in the sense there was huge, crops increased, the food shortages were a thing of the past, and money came into a class that didn't have that kind of money before. But there was, in the youth, there was still no jobs to be had outside. If you couldn't be absorbed on the farm, then you had nothing to do. So militancy also grew as a consequence of sudden wealth that arrived with the Green Revolution, which is short-term wealth because the Green Revolution no longer pays dividends. Now the land is, there's, all those, that dam, Bhakranangal Dam also has a limited life like all dams have. And so the benefits of the Green Revolution are no longer visible.
Like Jaimal Singh Padda, who is from Kirti Kisan Union, his descendant in the same union, Rajinder Singh, he today calls it the green genocide that has happened of Punjab. Water tables have fallen, the land has become barren, and yet you have bumper crop after bumper crop every year. Recently, there has been a report which says that the nutritional value of this food that Punjab has been producing, both wheat and rice, feeding the rest of the country, this all goes back to the farmers' protest. These were the reasons behind it. That nutrition value is way below what it should be. So we are actually eating ghas foos. We're not questioning it. Because now big marketing companies would put Bhagat Singh's photo and sell it to us. That's the irony. We could open it. And then we could talk again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I have three questions for you.
One at a time because I'll forget.
Okay.
My memory is not that good anymore.
Who,
Not that
who
it
are
ever
the-
was.
Who are exactly the terrorists you mean in the documentary?
Well, terrorist is a word that they were using, but they were talking about the Khalistani separatists who were using weapons and killing their opponents.
Okay. I want to know what is exactly the Khalistan movement. Who are the Khalistanis exactly?
Who are they? They're people, young people from Punjab. Maybe you can answer that better than me. But who are they? Meaning they had a grievance, which is an old grievance about how after independence, Punjab was not given its due because Punjab is the food producer of the country, and yet they don't get the perception was that they don't get enough value for the inputs that they give to the country. So they wanted to fight for separate state. But they didn't really have a clear-cut idea of what that separate state would be. Even in the film, you saw when I was talking to some of them, they said, oh, from Delhi, big kabza karenge, Agra tak jayenge. So, they had an idea of the whole country, but Sikhs in the whole country are about 2%. So 2% can't possibly rule the whole country. So it was an idealistic concept, with not a geographic concept.
Okay. And what is the narrative of Muslims in between Hindus and
Muslims in Punjab?
Yeah.
Not significant in this story.
And anyway, I mean, most Muslims from Punjab went over to Pakistan,
yeah.
during partition. So there's one or two towns, I mean, Malerkotla and Qadian. These are towns where there is a significant Muslim population, but they normally don't form part of the narrative of Punjab because they are just so few now. But relations with them have always been amicable. There has never been a Hindu or Sikh Muslim fight in Punjab, never. Yeah. You had three questions.
Hey, this movie tackles a lot of problems historically, but one question I have for both of you is the central government drew borders very strategically, which led to these problems happening because the resources that got distributed in terms of geography skewed these population towards just relying on agriculture. How did that play out on this kind of conflict?
Punjabi super question. Huh? Punjabi super question.
You take it.
Okay, no, central government didn't draw these lines till later, because originally when Punjab was partitioned, like Bengal was partitioned, there were East Punjab and West Punjab. But once we had East Punjab, the Akalis realized we are still Sikhs are still 35% of that East Punjab. There were 2 times there were language commissions, language formulas given to Punjab. That you can use this, you can do both Devanagari and Gurmukhi. You can teach in both these languages, but the Hindus won't agree to that. And the Akalis realized that Sikhs are a minority, we'll never win elections here. So that led to basically what is called the Punjabi Suba movement. Okay, one more thing here is that various states of the country were demanding state boundaries on the basis of language. But the center was not doing it because center was saying, this will be a problem for us. They will become small bastions, So then in 1953, there was a language commission established, which finally gave a decree of, I think, 11 or 13 languages. They said, on these languages, you can make the states. Potti Shrimalu from Telangana today, he even fasted unto death with that demand, and Punjabi was not accepted as a language. They said, oh, it is part of Hindi. So that is when from 57 to 66, there was a Punjabi Suba movement, which said that give Punjabi-speaking people Punjab. So that what your question about boundaries is that this division was done on the lines of tehsils and not on the lines of blocks. Had it been done on the lines of blocks, there would have been a more equitable distribution of resources. But they took tehsil as a unit. Now in a tehsil, there are various blocks. Some blocks could be more Punjabi speaking, less Hindi speaking. Some could be more Hindi speaking, less Punjabi. And they just had to go that side. So that is but the problem which has been at the base of all that has happened between Punjab and Haryana is the river waters issue, what is called the Satluj Yamuna link canal. The river waters is at the base of this whole Punjab problem. That should have been actually solved in 2 years. That's what the 1966 Punjab Reorganization Act says. And it has gone on for 54 years today.
And river water issues are related to dams. Because that, when you have a dam, then you change the course of nature and you give water to one part and you take away water from another part and you create conflicts. And in a sense, the Punjab, and what were the jobs? Either you were a farmer or you were a soldier. Because where else was work? Where else were jobs?
And just a line to that is, I was seeing Gursharan Paji's a documentary made on him. It's the opening shot is, if you can change the course of rivers, why can't you change the course of your lives? That's what he believed in.
No, since we're talking about Sikhs, you're so right that it was Advani who was creating Bhindranwala, and I mean, I'm really speaking from inside. And you are so right when you said it is the right wing too that had a part in the riots. Since this film is really about riots, because I've seen it firsthand. The sad part of it all is that we're not able to really see the invisible hand in many of these, which is what you have been trying to bring out. And Advani and my mother had an argument too, about what was happening. And Mark Tully also came and attacked Mummy and said, "What are you saying?" But you're so right. So many people just don't realize that part of it. And let me tell you that actually, although it is being misconstrued in many ways, it was the Congress government. Rajiv Gandhi has phoned me. He has phoned my mother over a whole week, pleading, "Please, Mrs. Ratnam, will you appeal since my voice is not being heard?" He asked Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa didn't come on the line. Then he asked Mummy. He said, "Will you ask Mother Teresa? This riots must end." So, it's a misconception to say that it was the Congress or, at least Rajiv Gandhi. That
not only that, but if you hear the story about Indira Gandhi was killed by her Sikh bodyguards. Do you know why she had Sikh bodyguards? Because she insisted. Yes. Because the security was telling her, "Don't have Sikh bodyguards, you've just done Operation Blue Star." And she said, "No, I don't want to. These are my loyal bodyguards and I trust them."
Exactly.
So
there was no bias in her mind.
I mean, see, now we have fought. No. Why would you want to put me on the side and keep Anand with you? I mean, like that. No, it's not about that. It's about what are we telling the next generation? What are we telling the next generation? What are we telling youngsters who are growing up now? If you are...
No.
Because, ma'am, Punjab gets affected. This was a Punjab movie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to break this up. Is this on?
Yeah.
It is, okay, fine. I just have a couple of observations, and for Anand, I have 3 questions.
One at a time. One at a time.
And I'm sorry.
One at a time.
One at a time when I finally get there. My father remembered, he told me that he heard on the radio, I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing this, but about the Jawaharlal massacre. My father remembered that. I came to India for the first time shortly after Bangladesh became independent. And I don't know if I'm lucky or not, but I've missed all of these things that you've talked about, really. And you know that I was in TR jail during the emergency, but not for a political reason.
Yeah.
And I left in 1979, before the incident in the Golden Temple. I would hang around the university in my hometown, And I remember the fellow who taught Indian humanities at that time, between the Golden Temple and what happened after Indira was assassinated. I'm sorry to say this. And I don't know, I'm sorry to say this. He called Indira a bitch.
Yeah. Called Indira a bitch.
Yeah.
He knows. The person.
After this happened, on the radio, our local radio station, two gentlemen had been in India at the time that she was assassinated. And they described what was happening. And what they said was the preferred method of death was to put the tires around somebody's neck.
Yeah.
And so I've heard this, and I've probably seen a little bit of it before, but I've seen more of it today than I have ever before.
Yeah.
And my three questions, I wrote them on my hand. If I can read it, somebody, I don't know if it was Dave Mehta, or I don't know who, made the statement that India periodically has bloodletting.
Bloodletting.
That's one question, you agree. The second question is, has there been a resurgence of the interest in Khalistan since Modi, since the Ram Temple? I have read something that suggests that that movement is more alive than it was.
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say the Khalistan movement is active in India much. We do have, although the government likes to blame everything on Muslims and everything on Pakistan, it's actually true that Pakistan does play this game. So it's not untrue that Pakistan would also send arms to the militants in the past wherever they could, send drugs into India, into Punjab. There's a big drug problem in Punjab, as you might know. And nowadays the drugs are coming even through drones, even by drones. So they're hard to actually stop. Yeah. Anyway, but we can go on and on. There's so many issues. But basically, I hope what the film points to is that history is always being written by somebody. It's always constructed after the fact. And we believe some things without doing our research, without knowing what may actually have happened. So I think this is one more case. This contest for the memory of Bhagat Singh is an illustration of how those who actually fought for India's freedom, when they can't get rid of them, when they can't forget them, they can't denounce them, what they do is appropriate them. So you have Mahatma Gandhi's image everywhere, even amongst those who killed Mahatma Gandhi. The party that inherited the ideology of those who had killed Mahatma Gandhi, they put Gandhi's picture, they put Dr. Ambedkar's picture, they put Bhagat Singh's picture. So there are three different streams that clearly wanted a secular, democratic India. But their images are being used today. They are being appropriated.
When I was here at that time, I would go into Pakistan to renew my visa. I had a tourist visa, I still do. And I was naive enough when a couple people asked me where I had come from. They didn't ask me what country I belonged to, but where had I come from? And I said, India. And it was hate. I almost got beat up one time.
But that's the opposite of my experience. When I went to Pakistan, I've been 5 times. I made a film called War and Peace, which is about the nuclear, which I think you've seen.
The background, I went there with.
No, what I'm saying is that I got complete love from Pakistan. when they knew that I was from India, the rickshaw wala wouldn't take money from me, the bus wala wouldn't take money from me. They would come call me to their homes because they were dying to interact with Indians. Because this had been denied, because this division between India and Pakistan is an artificial division done by governments. It's not the feeling amongst the people. At least not in Pakistan. In India also it used to be like that.
Yeah, so can we move on to the next question?
My last
Yeah,
question is about the future. What's going to happen?
Well, that's very hard.
We live in a Hindu Rashtra now, sir. That's what is going to happen.
No, if you're talking about the future in a long span, then I think there's not going to be a planet. I mean, this planet is not going to survive because we've destroyed the air, we've destroyed the water. It's almost irreversible. It is, unless they take incredible measures to stop climate change and, so many areas of the world are going to be submerged because the ice is melting. So in the very long run, it's pretty bleak. But the question is that in the short time that we have, are we going to sit and kill each other, or are we going to try and protect the planet?
Ma'am, your question, yeah.
I spent a few years in the 90s reporting in Punjab and being berated by KPS Gill at that point for my reporting. So I'm going to bring the conversation from the universal to
back to
local.
Punjab. Yeah.
I had two questions for you. One is, you mentioned the attempts to demonize the Sikh community during the farmers' movement, and it just didn't stick.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering why, because obviously 84 onwards it was very easy to demonize the Sikh community. So why do you think there has been that shift? The second question, and of course your film focuses so much on Gurcharan Singh as well as the left in various forms in Punjab, which has had quite a strong presence, but also in many ways been a complete failure in Punjab. And what are the reasons for that?
What is a failure in Punjab?
The failure of the left as a movement, which I think maybe even speaks to a larger failure.
The failure of the left is global in the sense that which part of the world is there still. And in Punjab, actually I don't agree with you, because in Punjab, if you look at the farmers' movement, the backbone of the farmers' movement was the left in Punjab, is the left in Punjab. The people who are fighting against Adani capturing all, building these silos to store the stuff, grain, and not distribute it, but actually keep it till the prices go up or whatever. Who is fighting this the hardest it's a group called Ugrahan, which is part of the left movement that was spearheading the farmers' movement. Even the people that you saw in this film, the Kirti Kisan movement, was part of the farmers' movement today. So they didn't disappear. They don't basically have to advertise that they're the left.
No, I think the reason you are asking this is because they don't win seats in Punjab, right? So, but the farmers' unions, they are very clear. And for instance, 2017 elections, I was there 3 days at the biggest conference of the left parties. And they were very clear that whoever you vote for, you're going to come here to talk, to help you with the problems. So whether it is the AAP or it is the Congress or it is the BJP, their line to people is vote wherever you want to. We don't want to get into this. See, what we miss with Bhagat Singh's Inqilab Zindabad is also Samrajwad Murdabad. That was the complete phrase. Inqilab Zindabad, Samrajwad Murdabad. So all these other parties are basically doing imperialist policies. And the left does not agree with them. So they say we will continue to oppose them. So the left has a strong presence. It was seen in the farmers' protest.
And the other thing is that the one thing about the Sikh community is that it has always been a very generous community. Generous, if you look at even the religious things like a langar, where everybody is fed. In Shaheen Bagh, where Muslims were fighting for their rights, Sikhs came and did langars. So there is a broad generosity that I don't think anybody can wish away or pretend it doesn't exist.
The way I say it is, one second. The way I say it is, in the farmers' protest was left organization, I mean the whole organization of the protest, and the Sikhi sense of seva in it. The combination of these two made the protest win. And the real credit of that protest in my mind goes to the 70 plus people who came and just sat there. They said, just this Samyukt Kisan Morcha, we are not going to allow you to play your games. There were 32 unions in that. We know how they would fight with each other. But they would present a united face. Because these Bebe Bapus of Punjab, they have seen partition, they have seen Punjabi Suba, they have seen wars with Pakistan, they have seen emergency, they have seen Blue Star operation, they have seen Khalistan movement, they have seen the devastation of their soil. They said, hello, we have been seeing all this, when are we going to assert ourselves? And they finally asserted, they sat there. The reason the farmers, I saw it as a clash of narratives. There was a corporate media narrative versus the farmers' narrative. See, to me, 1984 is a watershed year because I was 11 then. And I realize now forever we are going to be seen as terrorists in this country. Right? Farmers, because Punjab lost the narrative. The Delhi press took over the narrative. They will tell the world who the Sikh is. The Delhi government was BJP. Not in 1984, ma'am. Yes. Okay, ma'am. But, may not have been in the chair. Okay. Yeah, but it took 30 years, 40 years, until the farmers' protest, that they regained the narrative. And they said, we will talk for ourselves. The corporate media was getting salaries. These people's lives were on stake. They would win, no? Yeah, somebody was asking.
A question about Bhagat Singh's education. All those writings of his were in chaste English, apparently.
Yeah, it's amazing.
His mastery of the language.
Bhagat Singh spoke. Remember that he was only 23 when he was hung, and most of these writings, what I found was his prison diary. I got the original diary and I photographed it, which you saw in the film. So there are quotes from Mark Twain and Rousseau and Gandhi, Tagore. It's like a Walt Whitman, like immense reading, which obviously he managed to do maybe in jail. And he's taking notes from all these places in his own diary. And sometimes he's writing in English, sometimes he's writing in Urdu. Yeah.
And there is one question I have for Anand. I told him I'll ask him this, is that we always see his films, we always talk about his themes. But I want to know, when did he become a filmmaker? How did that start, your journey?
That happened very slowly. The first time I picked up a camera was when I was on a scholarship studying in America doing my BA. I was doing a BA in sociology, but I hardly went to class because we were fighting the Vietnam War. And we're talking about 1970. So we were fighting the Vietnam War, and I filmed anti-war protests. I borrowed equipment from the theater department and filmed anti-war protests, which never became a film. And then I made a short film raising money for East Pakistani refugees before Bangladesh was born. And then I came back to India for a few years. I actually worked in a village for a few years. And went and joined the Bihar movement in 1974. JP movement. It's called JP movement. It's a mass movement. So at that time, they asked me to film to take photographs of police because they were expecting an attack. And then I went to Delhi and got a friend who had a camera and borrowed another camera. I'm talking about 8 millimeter and Super 8 cameras. And so from there onwards, slowly that filmmaking became what I did over a period of time. But that wasn't I never decided to be a filmmaker.
But you never left it either.
Yeah. Over time, it's the only thing that I do.
Hi sir, hi guys. I wanted to let you know that it was a beautiful film. And my question was, how did you prepare in terms of gaining access to people, places, and making those connections?
So I didn't prepare very much. And usually that's the story with all my films. I don't do a lot of preparation and I don't do a lot of research also. I do the research in the course of making a film. Once I've got an instinctive entry point and start filming, then I get time because it takes me, I don't edit quickly. While in the editing stage of things, I'm also doing the research. So, first I followed the Bhagat Singh Yatra, and then I go and read Bhagat Singh, to see, what are they talking about?
You got a knack of now catching the right shots before you go and read it.
No, in the sense
Has that changed? Has that improved?
Pardon?
That you get the dramatic moments on your film, even if you don't understand them fully?
Yeah, I think that if you film, the real trick of this kind of filmmaking, which is not script-based, not even so much research-based, it's just to instinctively be in the right place at the right time, to, be a witness to what is happening.
Yeah. Okay.
So as I said, like with this film, I started by interviewing the widows of people who had been killed in the 84 riots. And then that took me to Punjab. And then I came across, actually the Inqilabi Ekta Kendra people had come to Bombay where I lived to talk about what was happening in Punjab. So there's that meeting which I filmed when Padda and others are, actually it's in Bombay. But then I followed them and went with them to Punjab.
Thank you so much, Anand, for this one. And please stay on. There's another film after this. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. As Amandeep said, we're going to screen Hamara Shahar or Bombay, our city, at 7 p.m. here in this hall. So you can maybe grab a coffee, grab a drink, come back. Just an update for those of you who are willing or interested to come for Vivek or Reason tomorrow. We're going to be screening a slightly shorter version instead of the 218-minute version advertised on the website. So now the film is 104 minutes. So do join us for tomorrow as well. Thanks.